This is Plato the Buffalo, and welcome to this special audio cassette from Adventures from the Book of Virtues and Chick-fil-A.
Tell me a story, read me a poem, wrap it in melody, sing me the song, then let me hold it deep in my heart, where it can speak to me all the day long. The adventure of virtue, the adventure of truth, the thrill of the knowing that it's up to you. Building a new day shining in the sun. This is my story, the adventure has begun.
This story is about work. Oh, sure, we'd all rather be playing and having fun all the time. But there are some important lessons to learn about work. And after all, we all have to work. If nobody did any work, we'd never accomplish anything. Our story begins at Annie's school. For a science project, Annie decided to build an electric motor, even though she knew it would take a lot more work than most kids would be willing to put in. Even her teacher wondered if she could do it.
But Annie, your plant experiment seemed just perfect for the science contest. And this electric motor does sound pretty ambitious.
I think I can do it. And if I can, I'll have a better chance of winning the contest.
Okay, I'll look forward to seeing your motor. Remember, the judging is on Monday.
Annie's friend Julie thought the motor was going to be too much work. Even Zach doubted she could handle it.
Uh-oh, Annie. You're in big trouble now.
What's that about?
Oh, she's just jealous because I'm building an electric motor from scratch for my science project.
From scratch? By Monday? Yeah, right.
It can't be that hard. A couple of electromagnets and a battery. I saw it all in a magazine. Just wait, Zach. You'll see. And so will Julie.
Annie worked on her project all day Saturday. But on Sunday, trying to finish up, she ran into problems. That's when Zach stopped by.
Come on. Oh, let's see. Spring A goes on to assembly B. I give up!
Not going too well?
No, it's going great. I worked all day Saturday, got it nearly built, but the last stupid pieces won't fit together.
Well, it's not like anyone will be surprised you couldn't do it.
I just don't understand. It looks so simple.
How about we take a quick break? We could ride our bikes to Plato's Peak.
As far as I'm concerned, we can go for the rest of the weekend. I quit.
So Annie and Zach jumped on their bikes and came to see me. I was telling Annie about all the work I had done that morning and made the mistake of saying I didn't think I'd ever get done with my simple chores.
Tell me about it. Sometimes what looks easy turns out to be impossible.
Well, the world would sure be a lot different if everyone just gave up when the work got too hard.
Sometimes the work really is too hard.
Really?
I think so, especially when your science project instructions are wrong and nobody thinks you can do it anyways.
You know, that reminds me of a couple of fellows who were in a similar pickle. It's about two young men who had a great idea. When Wilbur and Orville Wright were young, they loved to play with toys that flew. By the time they were teenagers, their love of toys led them to a business. They started a bicycle repair shop in Dayton, Ohio. Then, while caring for Orville, who was sick with typhoid fever, Wilbur read something that would change their lives and the world forever. It had to do with the great German glider pilot Otto Lilienthal, who dreamed the impossible dream that man could fly. Sadly, Wilbur read that Mr. Lilienthal had died. But now, it was almost as if the Wright brothers had inherited his dream.
Orville! Orville! It's here! The material on gliding from the Smithsonian. I figure there are 3 factors in controlled flying: wings, power source, and controls.
I see what you mean. Oh,
What if we made a glider that...
So it was that Orville and Wilbur made their first glider. For testing, they took it to Kitty Hawk, since the little town was known for strong, consistent winds. A local man, Mr. Daniels, helped them find a good launch point. But Mr. Daniels thought the whole idea of man flying was silly.
Well, we sure can't figure out why nice boys like you are chasing such a fool-crazy notion as flying.
Why not?
Well, if you ask me, if people were supposed to fly, we'd have wings.
Maybe these are the wings we were meant to have.
Then Wilbur unveiled their glider. Mr. Daniels was not impressed, but he helped the boys anyway. Day after day, the Wright brothers launched their glider into the wind. And day, after a short glide, it would crash. After weeks of trying, they were growing tired of it all.
This completes side 1. Please turn the tape over to continue with side 2.
After their longest flight, Wilbur measured the distance and told Orville.
You made 350 feet!
Yeah, but our controls don't work.
The only thing I can think of is that the information we got from the Smithsonian was wrong.
So much work, and with so little progress.
This is crazy, Orville. Maybe we ought to pack it in.
At this point, it seemed that the whole project was dead. But somehow, the dream of flying would not die.
Gee, they kept going even when their information wasn't any good?
Sometimes they did get discouraged, but they didn't let that stop them.
So it was, they had fixed their wing design problem, but now they needed the right kind of motor. They looked everywhere for a light but powerful motor, but even the one they found turned out to be the wrong type.
Is that the letter about the motor?
It's a single-stroke motor, and it can't be as powerful as they claim. Our last hope, and it won't work.
Then we'll build our own motor.
How much work is too much, Orville?
I don't know. I'll tell you when I find out.
Come on. We've got to get ready for Kitty Hawk.
They worked long and hard, and by September 1903, they returned to Kitty Hawk with a gas engine that was powerful, yet light enough for their airplane. The weather didn't cooperate for days, then weeks, and that wasn't the worst of the news.
Do you believe it? Simon Newcomb, a world-famous scientist, has written an article showing, with unassailable logic, that human flight is impossible.
Well, results beat logic every time.
If we ever get the chance to have results.
After weeks of too much wind, the weather played a cruel trick. Now there wasn't enough.
And later, there were mechanical problems to deal with. It wasn't until 3 months later that history would be made. On December 17th, 1903, Orville took his place in the cockpit. With the motor at full throttle, Wilbur launched his brother into the sky. And to the amazement of everyone, the plane soared for a short distance.
Fly her to Kitty Hawk, Orville! Come on! It's only 5 miles! Yee-hoo! Go, Orville, go! Oh, yes!
Then the plane skidded to a stop on the sands of Kitty Hawk.
Wilbur, we flew! How far did we get?
120 feet!
Woohoo! 4 years of hard work!
But we did it! We flew under power!
No one thought we could do it, Wilbur. Imagine if we'd have quit.
Yeah, just imagine.
And that, Zach and Annie, is the story of the world's first flight.
Awesome!
Yeah, They could have quit lots of times, but they didn't. I think I've got some unfinished work to do myself.
Thanks, Plato. That was a great story. Come on, let's go, Annie. I know you'll figure it out.
On Monday at school, Annie ran into Julie again.
Busy weekend? It was a lot of work. And a lot of fun, too. But did you? You'll see.
And later in class, the teacher called on Annie to present her project.
Okay, class, let's see how Annie did.
Here we go.
At first, there was a small problem, and the motor began smoking. But Annie wasn't about to give up now.
Wait a minute. Easy. Let me try it again.
This time, the motor ran perfectly.
After hearing Plato's story, I knew you could do it.
I thought I could too, but I didn't realize how much work it would be. But you know, it's kind of strange. It means even more to me now because it was so hard to do. All it took was a good idea and a lot of work.
Thanks for listening, kids. And remember to look for Adventures from the Book of Virtues on your local PBS station. And collect all the audio cassettes at Chick-fil-A.